All right, so today's video, this is gonna be a head scratcher. We've got a 930 turbo Targa. You don't see those very often. And it has a surging idle. So I figured I'd bring you guys along for the ride. The only thing I've done is take the intercooler off and the airbox up because I'm about to hook up some equipment. So a lot of times as mechanics, you know, we're held to a higher standard. We can't just throw parts at something or randomly say off the top of our head, we think it's this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get some diagnostic equipment out, get it all hooked up. First thing I'm gonna do, I don't think it has as far as a surging idle, I don't think it has a vacuum leak. It just doesn't appear to me that it does. I don't hear anything hissing, but who knows? But I'm gonna get a breakout kit on the cold start injector, and then I'm gonna get a breakout kit on the fuel injector over here. So I got one up here, and I'm gonna get one down here, and then I'm gonna get a breakout kit on the warm-up regulator, and I'm gonna get fuel pressure hooked up. First, we're gonna smoke test it. I'll show you how to do that. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna break out two kits. We're gonna do the warm-up regulator, and we're gonna do this cold start valve. So I'm just gonna plug a jumper in here. Of course, I can't see completely blind. There's that end. Come on, baby. I just took the thing off and now I can't get it on. Let me get a mirror so I can see what I'm doing. All right. Mirror and glasses. So all this is it's a 2-pin breakout kit. So it allows me to plug in, a meter or an oscilloscope. I'm gonna use an oscilloscope, but it allows me to plug that in so we can see in real time what the heck's going on with this thing. Come on, baby. Just switch hands, it'll make it easier. There we go. They could have put this in a tighter access area, huh? Get that to clip in. There she goes. So then we'll run this guy up here so we have access. We'll do the same on the warm-up regulator. So what I want to see here is I just want to make sure that both of these systems are functioning, because we are dealing with not only a surging idle, but it also is hard to start. So something tells me we could have a combination of a couple of things. So what I like to do is I like to get all the systems on the scope at the same time if you have the ability and the capability to do that, and you can see in real time exactly what's going on. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'll break this one out too. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hook a vacuum gauge up to the idle air valve over on this side, and then do the same thing. I need to move that hose clamp. If I hook a vacuum gauge up to the idle air control valve, then I can come on, talk at the same time. Get that out of the way. Plug that guy in. And then this end, we need to plug into here. Make sure we're going the right way. Okay, so that will give us access to the warm-up regulator, and it'll give us access to the cold start valve. We'll run that on different channels. And then what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna undo this. This is the service data tells us that this valve right here has something to do with idle. It regulates idle. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna plug this little handy port in here, kind of bridge that and jump that out, and then we'll have simultaneous readings of, we'll do fuel pressure next, we'll have vacuum, we'll have warm-up regulator, we'll have cold start valve. We'll be able to look at everything at the same time. So next thing is fuel pressure. Let me grab something, we'll put fuel pressure together. See how tight this guy is. Not terrible. So this will be able to look, so this is CIS, it's CIS injection, so it's speed density. So to smoke test it, we're gonna have to get rid of the CIS airbox. So there's no possible way to block that thing off. I don't have like an extra metering valve to put on top of it or anything. So if I try to smoke test it with that, it's not gonna build up enough pressure in the system to see if we have any leaks at all. So let me back this guy off. This one's kind of crusty. Usually you can spin that off with just your fingers. I saw one time somewhere where somebody put Loctite on this and it didn't come off. I had to end up having to actually get the torch out and melt it. Don't ever put Loctite on a fuel thread, especially if you have to use a torch to get it off. It was a mess. So this car originally came in with the busted fuel line. So it didn't run when it came in. It came in on the hook. So it came in with a busted fuel line, and then we did the repair, put a new OEM fuel line in here. Went to fire it up and wasn't running very good. I'm not sure how many miles are on this car or what its intended purpose is, if it sits in a car collection or who knows. And this guy plumbed in line here. All right, so then that gives us fuel, control, pressure, and system pressure. So we'll hang that up there. I'll be able to see it, but you won't be able to. So that gives us fuel, pressure. We've got the breakout leads for cold start. We've got the breakout leads for warm-up regulator. So now what I'm gonna do over here, I'm gonna take off the intake boot and we'll run the smoke machine on this guy. See if we have any leaks. These systems are really simple. The CIS systems and they're just simple systems. But a lot of people, for some reason, get it wrong. I'm not sure why. So this is an awesome piece of kit. I can't remember, I think these are red line, but it's just an expandable bladder. You shove it in there. Give it some pumps. It's probably good enough. And then that'll allow you to smoke test through your intake. So then here, we need to block off this side and then do the same thing with this one. I think it's just like a little blood pressure cup, but it expands. Super cool. So this one, being as long as it is, I can get it in and I can seal off that entire port, which is super cool. In theory, should work. That should be good enough. All right, so now we'll probably have, maybe we'll have a vacuum leak here. So we need to plug this one, and then we need to plug this one. I'll do that with pinch off. So grab this guy, pinch this guy off. It's a pretty hard hose, so hopefully we get a good seal. May have to plug it. Might end up plugging that one. This guy, same thing. Hopefully that seals up on us. All right. Now I should be able to, I need to plug this. So I'll plug this and I'll inject smoke into the other side. So I'll plug that. All right, so we got ourselves hooked up to battery. Let's see what kind of leaks we have, if any. Didn't seem to me like it had a major vacuum leak. You know, you idiot. I'm sitting here looking for smoke and I didn't hook it up to anything. You idiot. All right, so right out of the gate, I got smoke here. So we need to come up with a better option for that. Let me grab some plugs. We'll have to plug that hose. So sometimes these little tapered plugs, sometimes they'll work. Get that guy shoved in there. Let's try that bad boy again. Turn on our smoke. Right out of the gate, we got a leak down here on the bottom. See where that bad boy's coming from. It's hard to tell. It looks like it's throttle gasket, throttle body gasket. Let me turn this off. So right now we're drawing, we're at 12 pounds. So we're not quite in the green. But I don't think, it's got a little bit of a vacuum leak down there, but I don't think that's enough to cause a surging idle, but it's something we can fix. Definitely take a look at. I cannot tell where that's coming from, so let's see. We're in the acceptable range on the flow control, but we're in the acceptable range on flow control, so I don't think that's the culprit of our surging idle. Since we're here and we got everything hooked up, let's see what we find. Possibly we can get in here with the Boroscope and see. Come on, baby, turn on. It's supposed to be instant fire. Let's go. There we go. This is a pretty good imager, so we'll be able to get this down in here and see. Be straight. It's a great tool, but if it's not straight, get any kind of tension on that line, doesn't want to do anything. So let's poke this guy down in here, have a peek around. I don't see anything on the back. Let's go under. I don't see anything there. Coming from that guy. Got a hose down here. Let's try going this way. There's the smoke. Where's she at? That's the bottom of the throttle body. See if I can pull that up. Where'd my phone go, guys? Take a video of that. See if that'll come up on camera. Yeah. You can see it plain as day. You can see the smoke going past. So, smoke machine timed out, but like I said, I don't think it's definitely something we need to sort out, but I don't think that's anything that's gonna cause surging idle. Just my humble opinion, I don't think it's bad enough. But another way to discount double check that, now that we know where it's coming from, if we have a problem, we'll see it on a vacuum gauge. So what we need to do now is we need to get this thing energized and start it up. We gotta put the intercooler on first. 930s won't run without the intercooler on. So I don't have, in the other store, we've got a test pipe, which is super handy. that we can plug in line, but we don't have that here. So let me spend a couple of minutes. There should be some decent pressure in there. Let me spend a couple of minutes getting that lined up and put the intercooler back on. I'll be right back. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna jump both fuel pumps. So we need to go 87. Let me orientate myself the right way. 87's the top one up here. Let me get a different, let me get some smaller probes. I thought those were the right pins, but they're not. Let me get smaller ones. All right, so 87, and grab the pink ones. 87 is that one. So then 30's this one. And then we have a front and a rear pump. So one is high pressure and the other one is the lift. So the front one's the lift one and the rear one's the high pressure. So plug that guy in there. Those pins feel nice and tight, which is good. And then plug that guy in there. And then we're gonna jumper across here. That turns that pump on. I heard it go. And then we're gonna jumper here. And it turns the front one on. So now we should have full fuel pressure. And we'll go back here and we'll check our, hopefully we got no leaks. So weird thing is that I can hear that injector firing. So that's pretty freaking high. Hold on one second. I think I found our problem. Let's unplug this out of here. Because I think what we're doing is we're filling up. I think this injector's stuck on. This is not ideal. There's no power to it. That's crazy. Yeah, that cold start injector was stuck on. So here on the control side, we've got 6.5 bar. And then let's check the regulated side. What is going on with this thing? We're completely maxed out. Completely maxed out on fuel. What am I thinking wrong here? I should be at 90 PSI there. That's head pressure. Do I need to be running? I thought I could just check it bridged. I need to be running. You idiot. Sometimes you're the chicken and sometimes you're the egg. Today I'm the egg. What's interesting is this thing here was firing. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Wonder why that is. Why would that injector be firing? We'll find out. Maybe that's our running issue. And we're not gonna go into OBD2. Oh my God. And we're not gonna go into guided components test. We're gonna go into scope multimeter, 2-channel lab scope. So we'll hook this guy up and this will be, hey, we got some pressure in there. This one, which these were different colors. This one is my injector circuit. So we're gonna run that, get my leads hooked up. So channel 1 is gonna be the injector. So that'll be the injector. And then channel 2 will be the warm-up regulator. So let's run channel 2 to the warm-up regulator, which is gonna be this guy. Plug her in. Then we'll have that, we'll have vacuum, So we'll have vacuum, we'll have system pressure, control pressure, warm-up regulator, as well as the, so let's turn on channel 2 here. This one, we need 10 volt scale here. Actually, we need 20 volt scale on both. We need to turn AC couple off. And then let's fire this bad boy up and see what we got. Stop. Let's look back here and see what that looked like. You guys can see this. So that's the injector firing. That's the warm-up regulator, and that's the injector firing. Yeah, channel 1. Actually, the warm-up regulator is not even on there. That's the injector firing. See what that looks like. Let's go here. We weren't even picking up the warm-up regulator. See if we can keep it running. So that's system pressure. Is about 70 psi. We running out of fuel? No, because we got plenty on the. Why is that control pressure so high? Makes no sense. We got too much fuel.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
All right, before we get all crazy and get ahead of ourselves, let's make sure we got spark. All right, so saga continues. So here, so we're dealing with no start, right? So this is my scope. So green was, I put it on cylinder number 6 just because that's easy for me to get to. Green showing I've got consistent spark. And then this yellow line here, so channel 1 is my cold start injection valve. So I know I'm getting good cold start injection, and it's got some crazy spikes here, almost up to 20 volt spikes. I don't know what that's supposed to look like. I don't think it's supposed to be 20 volt spikes. I think, you know, it should be, it should just be a simple injector duty cycle. So it's got some super high voltage there. But now we know we have fuel, and we know we have spark, and we have no start. So let's continue down. Let me check this warm-up regulator and see what this warm-up regulator looks like. So I'm gonna turn off, I'm gonna go back to recording. I'm gonna turn off channel, what is that, channel 2? I'm gonna turn off channel 1, and let's just record channel 2 and see what it looks like, which is our warm-up regulator. Let's see if that got anything. So I'm not getting any power to my warm-up regulator. So let's grab a diagram and see how that circuit functions. I want to check my warm-up regulator. So let's try to start it and see what that warm-up regulator is doing. All right, so it's functioning. However, if we look here, we are less than, we're 0.4 volts. We're not even a half of a volt on the warm-up regulator. So I need to go look at service data and a wiring diagram and see what this power is supposed to look like. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do, just check to make sure that we're getting enough fuel into the injectors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reach up in here on the metering valve. I'm just going to crack it. So I'm going to crack it a little bit. Basically what that's doing is that's forcing fuel into the, let's see if she starts. All right, so can't get back here quick enough. So I think what I'm gonna do at this point in time, and I don't know any history of this car. I have absolutely no idea on the history of this car, is I'm gonna give it. All right, so picking back up on the Targa turbo, I figured out my running problem. So Sam, you're gonna have to figure this out, or Sam's gonna have to figure it out, because at some point in time, I either forgot to hit record or something, or mics were messed up, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, where we were at, we were trying to diagnose no start. So how I got it to start was I just went over to the metering valve and primed the system with a ton of fuel. I got the thing to start, and then I had to screw out a couple of turns to get it to idle okay. And then I pulled the intake off. I fixed the vacuum leaks, and I also pressure tested the injectors, and I cleaned the injectors out. Somewhere around here is another one. There's a bad one, but I ended up replacing one of them. One of them was clogged and wouldn't clean up. Got it all back together, fired the car up, idled beautifully, and my CO level was pretty good, but my AFRs were super lean. And went out for a test drive, just kind of babied it, came back, and I couldn't get the idle to calm down. So usually if you have a high idle, it's a super lean condition. Too much fuel. If it's too rich, the car it won't hold an idle. It'll struggle to keep an idle. So if you're too lean, 9 times out of 10, you have a high idle situation. So I noticed that, I had to screw the how do you call it, the screw for the air bleed. I had to screw that in all the way just to get it to calm down, and then it would only calm down to about 1,000 RPMs. I double checked RPMs against my RPM gauge, and that's about where it was. So I had a super lean condition. I couldn't get the idle calm down, and my problem is I'm not a parts changer, so I refuse to just say, well, it could be this, and throw a part at it. I don't have a way to test each individual supply for fuel injectors. I only have the ability to test, system pressure, control pressure, but I've got no way to test out of the head into each injector, what the system is doing. I need to build a jig that I can run on like a 6-channel oscilloscope, but it would cost like $4,000 to do something like that. So I haven't done it yet, but I pulled the head off. And what I found, and now I've since fixed it, I've since fixed this head. When I pulled it off and I went down like that, it just got stuck. It was super notchy in here, and there was a lot of dirt and grime and dust in it, and actually just saw it stick right there on camera. So I just sprayed some HKS in there, but on camera we just saw that stick. I hope you got that, Sam.
Dirt and grime and dust in it, and actually just saw it stick right there.
Basically what it was doing was if this was sticking and then was causing the idle to fluctuate. That's also why I couldn't get the CO level. So I keep these in stock. So this is a new refurbished one, but you can see how smooth that is, and also how slow it comes back, right? So this is how this is supposed to function and act, and this one is not. So you saw it stick again right there. So this thing was sticking. It wasn't plunging. It was plunging down, coming back up, staying closed. That was my running problem. You see, I got a sticky piston right there. That's what was causing. That was what was causing my idle surge. So I'm gonna throw this remanufactured one back on, or restored one back on, and I'll get it in the car. I'll set proper CO level. And then I'm also going to throw a warm-up regulator. All right, so what causes these to go bad is fuel. So this is, you know, brand new zinc plated restored hardware. And if you see inside here, maybe Sam can zoom in. If you see inside there, you can see how much corrosion in there. That's from you know, ethanol based fuel. So this, you'll see this a lot. We recommend, if you've got the budget and also the space to store the fuel, we recommend running the vintage Sunoco or VP fuel. I think it's 98 or 100 octane, but there's no ethanol in it at all. But you know, this stuff gets in here, starts to corrode things up. Ethanol in this grade steel, and I'm not a metallurgist, but I know there's something in these lines that ethanol is a corrosion to, and I don't remember what it is. I don't know if it's the zinc plating or the coating or what it is, but there's something that ethanol is not happy with. Don't have a problem with the new cars, only the old cars, and I think that's because of this steel or the coating on the steel. I don't know, but it's a problem. So that's what's wrong with this puppy. I'm gonna get this back in the car. I'm gonna get the CO level set properly, and then I also noticed that I had a lot of timing in this thing. So the car was a mess, but I think with proper diagnostic and, you know, a little bit of head scratching, we were able to figure it out.